This is my personal experience, not medical advice. Please consult a qualified healthcare professional. Guest views are their own. On this episode of Rapid Regeneration, you're going to learn the story of Scott Burnhard, who was a real underdog. He didn't understand why he was suffering in his health, why he was having problems with his body, and he was being held back and suppressed by so many forces, and figured out how to take control of his own life and push through that and now create an amazing state of health and energy. Not only that, but he shows not just how he can do that, but how anybody can do that. All right, welcome back to Rapid Regeneration. I'm Dave Escamilla. I'm joined today by a very special guest. We're going to learn about his story. We're going to learn about how he serves the community, his mission, how he's transformed his own life, and things that we can learn from this individual. So thank you, Scott Burnhard, for being with us today.
Absolutely. It's an honor to be here. Dave, I really appreciate you for bringing me on your platform. I look forward to having a wonderful dialogue, a wonderful conversation about my story, my origin, fully transparent, and just to educate and give divine knowledge and truth to the people. So thank you for having me, man. It's an honor. It's an honor. Thank you.
Yes. Scott is here. He's drinking his Don't Bother Me. I'm detoxing tea.
Yes. This,
And Scott's gonna be Scott. We're gonna actually meet Scott in person at Texas Fruit Festival,
woo!
2026. We're super excited to see him there. Uh,
Yes.
Scott really is. When I look at Scott, you might see Scott all over the internet. At Scott Bernhard,
Yeah.
and Scott is. Scott's doing his thing, and Scott is reaching a lot of people, right? And Scott's a big superstar, but actually, it's been a quite a journey, because if you look at the story of Scott Bernhard,
Mm,
it started off rough. I mean, I've seen you talk about growing up in a culture of health not being an option, of processed food,
yeah.
um, constantly this dopamine reward system with junk food. You experienced both of your parents passing on from cancer, and
Hmm.
you've experienced a lot of. You talk about the pain, right? The pain and the that core that builds you as a person, as you've built this identity, Scott Bernhard. So, how did you get to this point? Talk to us about what that looks like.
First off, man, when you said that both of my parents, I lost both of my parents to cancer, I got a little bit emotional because it is the reality. I lost both of my parents to cancer. But before we even get into that, my name is Scott Bernhard. I was born in the Bronx, New York. I was raised in the Bronx, New York. I have Jamaican origins. Of course, my mother and my father is Jamaican, and I used to live in Jamaica as a child. I used to live in Jamaica as a child, and then I came back up, and then they sent me back down again to go to school and everything like that. But the more, when it comes to my story, my origin, the Bronx is one of the most unhealthiest counties in the world. There's liquor stores, there's processed foods, there's junk foods, there's corner stores, there's all types of fast food chains. There's not that much healthy options in the Bronx when I was growing up. Not really. No, it was pretty much a food desert. Whatever was there to consume. I remember back in the days when we were younger and we got some money, and then we're like, yeah, we're about to go eat good. But eating good for us was us going to the Chinese food spot. Eating good for us was going to the pizza spot. Us eating good was going to the fried chicken spot. So we have normalized ourselves in the chaos of what society has brought onto us. Like, even though it's insanity, it's become normalized because we see it each and every single day, that it literally becomes a part of our psyche and becomes part of our mental stimulation. So, pretty much growing up, I did not know about fasting. I did not know about detoxing. I wasn't versed in like healthy eating. I remember my mother, God rest her soul, she tried to get me to eat grilled chicken. I hated grilled chicken. I know I want fried chicken. I remember she tried to give us brown rice, and I hated brown rice. Give me the white rice or give me French fries, right? And I wasn't so much of a fruit eater. Now that I think about it, I wasn't so much of a fruit eater growing up either. I was mostly eating like Lunchables, Lunchables, processed foods, junk foods, Kennedy Fried Chicken. If you're from New York, you know what time it is, Kennedy Fried Chicken and things like that. But because of my Jamaican background, we had home cooked meals. We had, jerk chicken, curry chicken, oxtails, things like that. And then my auntie, God rest her soul, she was Rastafarian. So when I was living in Jamaica, my auntie, she had more of a Rasta approach, which was more ITIL.
ITEL foods.
ITIL,
Yeah.
yes,
Uh-huh.
which means more, more natural foods, right? So I wasn't really eating meat as much when I was in Jamaica. Like, once in a while, but she introduced us to like the chunks, the provisions, chickpeas, lentils, things like that. I remember sometimes she'll eat fish from time to time and things like that. But yeah, that's like pretty much my the way that I grew up and especially when I came back from Jamaica, and now I'm a teenager. I'm working. I'm doing summer youth, and I'm getting money. And I used to run to the McDonald's to get the dollar meal. I knew how to make a $5 stretch, man. Listen, let me get two McChickens. Let me get one snack wrap, and then let me get a McFlurry. So that's how I grew up.
So at the time it was and I remember this too, right, from being a youngster. It's like you get a little bit of money and you think I'm gonna treat myself.
Yes.
I'm gonna take care of myself. I'm gonna give myself something good, and then what are you really doing? But it's ingraining into your mindset
Yes.
something, and you changed, but other people don't change, right? Do you notice that old friends and people from way back when and stuff, are they still in that psyche, right? Where they're treating
Mm.
themselves right with things that are hurting them?
You know what? Unfortunately, yes. I've seen friends that back in the days, this guy was, fairly decent shape. And all of a sudden, yo, Scott, I'm borderline diabetes. They're coming to me now because they see the way that I've changed my lifestyle. Because before then, I wasn't suffering with any ailments and things like that. But I had a lot of acne on my face. As you can see, my face is cleared up because what you put in your body is a reflection within the internal to the external, right? Reducing the inflammation. So they seen the change, they seen the aura, and now they come to me and I try to educate them, but I will never force anyone to live a lifestyle that they don't want to live. But I'll educate you and I'll show you, like, listen, man, I remember when I was having back pain and this is what I did. I went on a fruit fast, or this is what I did. This is the type of herbs that I took. This is the protocols and the regimens that I did, especially back in the days when I wasn't even working out, and I was like this skinny kid, and all of a sudden I blew up into the fitness realm, creating my brand, my YouTube channel, my social medias, people posting me, people getting inspired by the workouts. So I have seen friends that deteriorated throughout the years. And it's very unfortunate, but I always let them know that I'm here for them.
You used to have bad acne, and then you ran into someone, a lady, and she said, why don't you stop eating dairy
Yes.
for to help with your acne? When did that happen, and what was your response? Were you open-minded when you heard that, or what happened?
Interesting. Dairy is scary, man. But dairy is also addictive because dairy has this thing called casein.
Casein.
Yes, that like rewires your brains and your hormones. So I had that interaction in university, in college, and Cheyenne, I remember it's funny, Cheyenne was vegan at the time. So she looked at my face. She was in my psychology class and he looked at my face and he was like, what do you eat? I was like, "Yeah, I just don't know what I eat." I remember, I think that morning I had like a McDonald's apple pies. I used to love those. You can get the 2 for 1
Two
special.
for one. Mhm.
And I told her, I think I told her what I ate. She was like, "Do you drink milk?" It's like, "Yeah, I like cereal." That's back then I used to eat cereal. Now I don't know. I don't eat no cereal. I'm scared of cereal. I told her, and she was just like breaking it down to me about like what dairy does to you. And she was like, instead of doing dairy milk, do almond milk. And that was my first introduction to almond milk. And when
Mm.
I did that switch, I felt so much better. My skin started to clear up a little bit more. I felt lighter. I remember dairy used to make me feel very congested. So when I made that switch to the almond milk, I never looked back. I said, yeah, I was buying almond milks and everything like that. And I started to explore like almond milk, rice milk, but I couldn't do the dairy thing no more, man. Used to
Yeah.
make me feel lethargic and throwing up. It's yeah, I couldn't do it.
So was that before or after you had this experience in 2015 where you had this pain in your wrist, uh, and 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 tell us about that because that led you down a rabbit hole, right? Where you had
Mm,
this your livelihood was doing content
right.
and putting stuff out there for being an athlete, being
Yeah.
calisthenics. You were known for getting ripped without going to the gym
Yeah.
and being able to work the body out and build the body just outdoors. So you were doing all this, and then suddenly your livelihood was taken away because you suddenly had this injury in your wrist. And was this before you ran into the lady who was talking about the
After,
dairy? This is after
after.
that. Okay, what happened with that?
Man, we were shooting a documentary called "The World Is Your Gym" with, some of my calisthenic colleagues, and yeah, it was very self-explanatory. The world is your gym. So we was going around Times Square, we was going around, the scaffolds and the bars, and our mission was to show like your world is your gym, like no excuses. So long story short, I injured myself going up on a platform, and when I injured myself, the next day I had a swelling, like it was so big and I couldn't really move my arm. I couldn't do any push-ups. It was very debilitating. And my mother, she said, you should go to the doctor and check it out. My mother was also working in the health field, the medical field. So I went to the doctor, and I remember the doctor, the doctor, he kind of looked at my arm and everything like that. He's like, "Oh, you have inflammation, and you should take these, the ibuprofen, these prescriptions, and these pills." So before I was even conscious or before I even broke out of the matrix, I said, okay, let me listen to this doctor and take the medication and pills. I'm taking the ibuprofen, I'm taking everything. They taking my insurance from the pharmacy. And it wasn't working for me, Dave. It just wasn't working for me. So I became depressed throughout that interaction. And I remember my spirit telling me, Scott, take up your iPad and just do some research. Just, because for me, I don't like to be oblivious. I don't like to be a sheep. I don't like to, not know. I want to know, because I'm that curious. So I picks up my iPad and I type in inflammation, and lo and behold, what came up, it said meat, processed meat, dairy, inflammatory foods, cookies, sugars, chips, all those things that we grew up on, all those things that I named in the beginning of the interview causes inflammation. And I was blown away by what I found out because I'm like, I've been doing this for quite some time. I've been doing this for a long time. How is this inflammatory? How is this, But the beautiful thing about my story is I'm very realistic. I didn't do the cold turkey thing. I said,
Mhm.
you know what? I'm going to give myself grace, but I'm going to research. I'm going to learn about this because at this point, the doctor can't help me. So I have to become my own doctor and help myself. And Dave, it was 9 months of researching. It was 9 months of watching YouTube videos. It was 9 months of reading literature because I took the initiative. One thing I learned is that nobody's going to do it for you when it comes to your health and wellness journey. Nobody's going to wake you up in the morning and say, okay, you got to go on that treadmill. Nobody's gonna drag you and say, okay, you have to have the mindset and take the initiative to make it happen. So guess what? That's what I did. And that's when I learned about Dr. Sabi, Queen Afua, and Dr. Layla Africa. May he rest in power. And so Dr. Sabi, right? And those are the big three when it comes to healing for me personally, right? And when I learned, I started to like gather a lot of knowledge and information. And one thing that make people more confident is knowledge and information because people fear what they don't understand. So as I'm gathering more knowledge and I'm becoming more confident, I'm like, okay, okay. Oh, so this is what I'm gonna substitute for our breakfast. This is what I'm gonna do for dinner. This one. And then back when I was modeling, I used to be in the industry back when I was modeling, and I came home from Paris Fashion Week. I remember I said, you know what? I'm going to take this 1 week and I'm going to implement everything that I know about this plant-based lifestyle, nutrition, this thing that I'm about to get into. And Dave, the first week I did it, amazing. Why? Because I knew I had a plan of action. I knew that, okay, I'm going to eat some oatmeal. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm not going to do the bacon, egg, and cheese in the morning. I'm going to do these healthy substitutes. I'm going to eat more fruit. I'm going to introduce more ginger. And that first week, skin starts to clear up, mental clarity, mental sharpness, cognitive function is on high. I'm going to sleep. Before I used to suffer from chronic insomnia.
Mm,
Chronic insomnia. I couldn't go to sleep even if I tried, man. And the amount of
mm.
melatonins I've taken and I got nightmares. I say, yeah, I can't do this. I gotta find a more natural way. So, yeah, I started to feel the benefits of living the lifestyle. And then the second week, remember, the wrist was inflamed. And the second week of me disciplining myself, the inflammation went down. I was able to do pull-ups. I was able to do push-ups. And I remember looking at myself and I said, wow, that right there was the turning point for me. But I didn't go fully vegan, right? I didn't go fully vegan. I said, let me do the vegetarian thing. See, everybody has a journey. You hear stories of people that go cold turkey. I'm not one of them. I
Yeah, me
had to,
neither.
yeah, exactly. You know, everybody's an individual, so everybody have individual thinking. I said, no, let me do the vegetarian thing. As I went vegetarian, I noticed that my body was rejecting certain things. And that's the thing, Dave. The body's going to speak to you, but you got to be on a frequency to listen. Some people are so disconnected and disarray from their body that they don't understand what the body's communicating to them, saying, oh my God, can you please give me a break? I don't want to break down so much food right now. You are causing more harm than good at this moment in time, eating that double cheese, bacon, ostrich burger. This is not the time right now. I need a fast and detox. And some people, and a lot of people are disconnected from that. And this is why people get sick and compromised. So when my body started to speak to me, I remember I quit eggs in 2 weeks. I thought I was gonna be eating eggs all morning. In 2 weeks, my body said, "You can't do this no more." And I listened. I said, "Okay, I'm taking out the eggs." And then throughout the months, I can't do the cheese. And then I
Mhm.
can't do this and I can't do that. I think the last thing I gave up was honey. And it was 1 year of my vegetarian journey. And then that's when I turned plant-based vegan.
Hmm.
Yep.
Okay. And so your wrist was inflamed. How long was that going on for? Was that going on for the whole time you were researching, the
Hmm.
nine months? Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Um, and then and during this time you said you wanted to know, you wanted to know. So what was it that you really were trying to understand? Were you trying to understand what causes inflammation? I mean, what was this burning curiosity that you had?
Hmm. Yes. The curiosity for me was what causes inflammation? What is inflammation? What causes inflammation? Some of these doctors and some of these medical professionals, they'll say certain things to you, and we don't do the initiative to do the research of what they're saying to us. They'll say it, and we need to do the research and to do the discoveries of what they're saying to us, and then from there you make a decision if you want to proceed or not, right? So I
Hmm.
wanted to know what causes inflammation. What is inflammatory? Why is my wrist swelling? Why is it taking 8 to 9 months for me um to get better? Why is this taking so long? Not knowing that when you are injured, inflammation is the body attacking itself. You have become your worst enemy because the white blood cells are rushing immediately to the area that is highly inflamed or the area that is highly damaged, and the body attacks itself. You have become your worst adversary. So, how do you reduce the inflammation? By going anti inflammatory fruits, vegetables, herbs, nuts, and seeds, where you become an asset towards your body and not a liability.
Okay, so you found this modality of
Yes.
this new way of eating, and after a year you transitioned fully plant-based, and you found that this
Mhm.
was uh helpful in terms of less inflammatory, problems, right? And as an athlete,
Hmm.
did you notice, what downsides, if any, did you notice as an athlete, to going plant-based? Did you notice less gains or less physique or stuff like that? Because a lot of athletes
Yeah.
will swear that, the meat protein source and all that type of thing.
Oh man, you know what, Dave? At first, I remember I was like 205, 208, stocky dude, muscle. I remember.
Mhm.
But I felt very lethargic. I felt very bloated. I felt very heavy. It wasn't a good feeling. Yeah, I was stocky. I had the muscle, I had the definition and everything, but I felt like a prisoner of my own body. I did. And
Hmm.
then when I went the plant-based route, I did not lose weight. I lost waste. Perspective is everything. A lot of people's like, oh, I don't want to lose too much weight when I go on a fast and detox. I don't want to lose too much weight when I go vegan. No, you want to lose the waste out of your body. You want to lose the parasites out your body. You want to lose the inflammation out your body, the mucus, the mucoid plaque, the toxins out of your body, right? And when people can develop a perspective like that, it's going to encourage them even more to live a more conscious, healthy lifestyle rather than just chasing the weight.
Hmm. I see. Yeah.
You because look at the bodybuilders. Look at the bodybuilders. Some of them they look jacked, they ripped, but that's the external. What is going on in the internal? Your heart is running on 0.02% because of this excess amount of food that you have to eat. And some of them they're taking illegal chemicals and drugs and things of that nature. The external, oh, it looks great. Yeah, you're looking chiseled, you're looking ripped and buff, but what's going on in the internal? Your internal is becoming a graveyard. Your internal is becoming a trash dump, a trash heap.
Hmm.
I look back and I was like, even to this day, I said, whoa, this is way bigger than just how you feel on the external. Your internal health matters the most.
Hmm. We're
So
talking, yeah.
I never seen no downsides going to I never no.
Hmm.
The only thing in the beginning where I didn't understand is like, oh, okay, I'm losing weight, whatever. But I became leaner, I became stronger, I became more mobile. That's a
Hmm.
plus for me. So I didn't see any downsides.
Okay. Okay. So in other words, you might, if you looked at pictures of yourself, if you look at
Hmm.
pictures of Scott Bernhardt, you might get a little bit leaner. Maybe the earlier one looks more like a linebacker. The later one looks more like a basketball player.
Hmm.
Like you're a little bit leaner, but you're saying that from a performance standpoint, you're performing the amount that you're able to do is the same, if not more, being leaner.
Yes, absolutely.
And you're not a skinny, and Scott Bernhard is not a skinny guy. If you look at photos, it's not like you're a wiry string bean or
No.
something
No,
either.
no, no, not at all.
Yeah.
I'm a lean powerhouse. That's
Yeah.
for sure. I'm a lean powerhouse, you know. When I put the clothes on and everything, yeah, but when I take the shirt off, oh, it happens. Oh, I didn't know that was yeah. Yeah.
We're talking with Scott Bernhard. Um, you definitely need to follow Scott Bernhard at Scott Bernhard on Instagram. Scott Bernhard is
Hmm.
the YouTube channel. Um,
Yes.
scottbernhard.com. You can find out about Scott's retreat that he does in
Oh,
Jamaica.
yes, yes, yes. I'd love to
Vital
expand on that too, when we have time for sure.
Yeah, the Vitality Frequency Retreat.
Yes.
And then also, yeah, just find out more about Scott. Scott will also be at Texas Fruit Festival coming up, so
Yes,
make
yes.
sure to get the details at texasfruitfestival.com.
I'm
So
excited. I'm excited. Texas, I'm coming to bring that Bernhard energy. Come and get your tickets to see me and amazing other speakers that's been pouring into the community. I cannot wait to speak with you all and to interact with you all, give high five, give hugs, give information, and it's just gonna be a great time. Get your tickets at the Texas Fruit Festival. Bernhard is coming with that Bernhard energy, man. Don't bother me. I'm detoxing.
Yes, that's happening end of April, beginning of May, 2026. And then the Vitality Frequency Retreat.
Yes.
When is that happening, Scott, in Jamaica?
Absolutely. So my next wellness retreat in Jamaica will be March 20th to the 24th, where I am celebrating my birthday, the Burnhard birthday retreat. And this is my second annual birthday retreat. So this is my second annual birthday retreat, but this will be my fifth retreat that I'm hosting. And this retreat is all about health and wellness, holistic learning. You're going to see Jamaica like you've never seen it before. You're going to learn about the agriculture. You're going to learn about the people. You're going to learn about holistic medicine. You're going to have these wellness workshops. You're going to do the internal work. You're going to have amazing plant-based ITO food that comes from the rich soil of St. Mary in the Vital Frequency Retreat. You're going to interact with me. You're going to experience the fasting and detoxing workshop, which I will be hosting at the retreat. You're going to interact with master herbalists that are on the land as well too. And it's going to be an overall wellness experience. Unlimited fruits and the retreat villa. And we're gonna go outside the retreat as well, because a lot of people that go to Jamaica and they just stay in the hotel. No, we're gonna go outside. We're gonna do the farm tour. You're gonna learn about the soil, the agriculture. You're gonna learn so much at this retreat. So I want you all to definitely inquire www.scottburnhard.com, or you can reach out to me on Instagram in a direct message, and we'll work out the details and everything like that. But I want you all to come and celebrate my birthday with me, man. And
That's
we'll
coming
pick
up.
you up from the airport and bring you back.
Okay, that's coming up in March 2026 in
Yes.
Jamaica. That's on Scott Bernhard's birthday. Scott is an Aries.
Yes.
He brings that energy. That's why it took Scott so long to transition to plant-based, because he thought it was a Birkenstock hippie granola. And the Aries energy is just it was I don't know if I can handle that. But
It's this energy that I have is not just the Aries energy.
no,
This
I yeah.
energy, absolutely, but this energy is the energy of loving life. Dave, I love life. Dave, the fact that I wake up every morning and I get to work on my purpose and work on my passion to help people, it gives me so much energy and so much vigor, and it makes me so extroverted, because I want people to feel the same about their lives. Life is precious and life is beautiful, man. Do not take it for granted. So
Hmm.
this energy that comes from is me having the passion for life. And then another thing, eating life. What do you mean by that, Scott? Eating the fruits, the vegetables, the herbs, nuts, and seeds, going back to nature. This is nature's energy. It's
Hmm.
a beautiful thing when I can wake up in the morning and not feel tired or groggy. I'm ready to go at it. I start my morning off with my Don't Bother Me, I'm Detoxing tea mug with some amazing herbal tea. Right now I got some Damiana. I love this tea. This is the happy tea, right? And then I'll eat some fruits. I'll eat some seeded grapes. I'll eat some soursop. I'll eat some papaya. Some gut healthy fruits, because your gut is your second brain. So if you don't have a clear gut, then most likely you are going to destroy the serotonin, which is the happy hormones within your gut, and you're going to feel very negative, and you're going to feel very oh man, very pessimistic. No, not around here, Dave. I love life. So
Hmm.
this is where the energy comes from. This is life.
Hmm.
Yeah, man. I
So
love it.
so Scott is and yeah, I mean majority of serotonin, right? It's created in the gut. And
Yes.
um so it Scott is going around and you're bringing this energy and you're helping people, right? And you have this great passion for helping people, for serving the community.
Mhm.
Um Talk to us about navigating the limits of that, right? Because you've talked about when your mom, when
Mm,
she was struggling, you wanted to help her, right? And you felt like you had some ideas that could help her, and you brought them to her, and she was not receptive.
right.
And I think a lot of us experience this where we have a loved one and we
Oof.
feel like we 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 have the secret key that unlocks the secret of health, and we feel like we want to share it,
Mhm.
and then they push it away, and it hurts. And so what was that experience like? How do you navigate that, dealing with those type of situations? And how should the listener be thinking about how to navigate that type of thing?
You know, Dave, everybody got to make a choice. Everybody got to make a choice on this earth, man. And we don't want to see our loved ones to suffer, especially our parents. And I was so optimistic. I was so optimistic because, you know, I was so optimistic because I've been helping a lot of people with the knowledge that I've gained. I've been helping other people's mothers. I've been helping other people's fathers. I've been helping other people's aunties, uncles, children with the knowledge that I've spread and educated. But I wanted to use that knowledge towards my mother and my family. I wanted to be the holistic healer in my family. And my mother was heavily into the medical practices of things. So when I came around saying, "Mommy, take this sour sop. Let's go on a fruit fast. Let's go on a detox. Let's drink some herbal teas and things of that nature," it wasn't really received well. And I remember sometimes it would break my heart because I'm like, I would show her testimonies like, "Mommy, look, I help, this person, I help this person with their hypothyroidism. I help this person with their hypertension because, of course I had the holistic background, but fitness came first. So, I'm letting her know everything, but it just wasn't received. And to see your mother slowly deteriorate and you're trying to help, but she won't take the help is one of the most heartbreaking and saddest things in the world, man. Like, I remember, I mentioned to her, "Mommy, let's go on a fruit fast," and it just wasn't received well. And sometimes people get trapped. Sometimes people get trapped in their own dopamine of things. My mother was a woman of faith. My mother went to church and everything like that, and she would do a fast, right? But breaking the fast with barbecue chicken and breaking the fast with like BBQs and all those unhealthy foods, it's like you're defeating the purpose of it, right? So,
So how did you deal with that? How did you what did you do in your own emotional
mm,
world to deal with that? And because I know that I can't imagine how hard that must have been.
um, I was very optimistic. I know my mother did the chemotherapy, but I didn't know she had cancer. The way how she presented to me was like, "Son, I have to do chemo, because the doctor said that I might have cancer." I don't know if she was telling the truth at that time, or she wanted to like, shield it from me to like protect my emotional state. I remember she told me that, and I was just like, "We can do this and that." And she was like, "All right, quote, Scott, I made my decision. I know whatever it is you want to say to me, but I made my decision." And I remember times that we used to argue back and forth to the point that I would cry. I remember. And I remember having conversations with some of my mentors and some of my really, really close friends about what I was going through. But I didn't know my mother was like had cancer until like the ninth hour, brother. I didn't know, but I knew she went to the hospital and I thought it was okay, the blood clots was acting up. Um, come to find out, it was stage 4 stomach cancer that was consuming my mother. I didn't know until I went to the hospital and she got into readmission and yeah, I was pulled to the side. I was pulled to the side and I had to make that decision to let her go to, no longer suffer. So yeah, man.
So, even though your mother, she didn't take that path. She didn't take that journey.
Mm,
The one that you took, or the one that you wanted her to take.
mm,
Your father, you know, you felt like maybe you weren't as close with your father as you would have wanted to be. How do
yeah.
you think that they would be looking at you now and what you're doing? Do you think they would be proud of you, happy for you, supportive?
Yeah. My mother was supportive of my lifestyle. My lifestyle. She was very supportive. I don't think she came to the time like, oh, Scott, you should eat meat and that. Sometimes she'll cook little vegan dishes and everything like that. My mother can make the baddest chickpeas. I don't think nobody can make chickpeas like my mother, man, the way she used to do it. Um, I truly feel like my mother and my father is very proud of me. My mother praised me for my work. She didn't accept it, but she praised me for the work and she loved what I was doing. She loved that I was stepping into the holistic realm and I was like really helping people because she saw how passionate I was. I remember my mother used to leave comments on my videos on YouTube. And then sometimes when I don't post on YouTube, she like, son, everything's okay. I haven't seen you posted on YouTube. So she was very proud of me. And I know my father, I was supposed, when my father transitioned, I was supposed to see him in Jamaica that year, but he transitioned 3 days before my birthday. We were supposed to build a very strong relationship. He was a financial father. He was there, he paid for my schools and everything like that. But we didn't get to that FaceTime. And they're both very proud of me. I feel it. That's what drives me. Yeah, a lot of things that drives me, but the fact that my mother and my father is in heaven and they, you know, they look after me. Sometimes I have conversations with them, like in my dreams or when I'm just alone. That's why you be seeing me doing the snow videos. I just be, outside. I'm just there and I have conversations with my mother and my father. They are very much proud of me.
Mm,
I don't feel any different or any opposite of that. My mother and father, Dacia Angela Hewitt, and my father, Bernard Oldfield, is very much proud of Scott Bernard Oldfield.
mm, mm.
I feel it. Hmm.
T talk to talk to the listener about no excuses, or about excuses. How do you view this, and what's what's your advice? Because some people might listen to Scott Bernhard and they might think, man, Scott's a beast. Scott's a he's a stud. Maybe he can make it. Maybe he could be like that, but I don't know if I could be
Mhm.
like that. Because I got
Yeah.
this problem. I've got that problem. I'm different. My situation is different. So t talk to us about excuses.
Excuses only hold you back from your true potential. If you want to be held back, continue with those excuses. If you don't want to be held back, turn those excuses into action and present results. You
What
hear what?
why do people struggle so much with taking control over their own self and overcoming some of these excuses and so forth?
Lack of confidence, a lack of spiritual intuition, a lack of discipline, huge lack of discipline. Because the excuses, they are going to increase your procrastination and you keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. Let me tell you something. The discipline is going to help manifest the results. You're talking to someone, and I'm very transparent with my story. I wasn't always this disciplined individual. I wasn't always this man that said, yeah, I'll go on a fruit fast. I'll go into a detox. I'll start working out and training such and such. I used to compare myself to a lot of people, but comparison is the thief of joy. If you want your joy stolen, compare yourself to another individual. You don't know what people's going through. You don't know what traumas people are going through. I know I went through a lot of trauma. Dave, I went through a lot of trauma. Some things
Hmm.
I went through, some people will be like, wow, and you still here? Yeah, I'm still here. You know why? Because I refuse to be defeated. I refuse to be the man that always giving excuses. I refuse to be the man that shoulda, coulda, woulda, but didn't. We're here on this earth, but what you do with the time while you're here on this earth is the most important thing. So if you want to be on this earth and continue to have all these excuses, all of these shoulda, coulda, wouldas, but didn't, all this type of procrastination and lack of confidence, then that's your bed. You should just lay in it. Get comfortable. But what you don't understand is that comfortability can lead to dire consequences.
Okay, the comfort zone.
The comfort zone is a terrible zone. It is a terrible zone to be in. It is a lackadaisical zone. It is a depreciating zone. It's a
And do you find that when you're even though you're constantly growing, pushing yourself, are you in a new comfort zone and then do you have to push yourself out of that comfort zone? Does it happen at
yeah,
different levels?
absolutely. I am human. Of course, I get comfortable sometimes. But what happens? You get comfortable sometimes, but you got to have accountability for self to say, nah, Scott, you're getting too comfortable. We got to get back. We up and at 'em. Let's go. That's why when I get too comfortable, I put myself in like um in an uncomfortable situation where right now it's the winter time and I feel too comfortable. I'm gonna put my clothes on and I'll go for a run. I'll run the stairs. I'll do something, or I'll read a new book. Just challenge myself, challenge my mind.
Hmm.
Get that natural dopamine, not the dopamine that you get from eating the cookies and chips and eating the barbecue baby back wings and eating the sweet and sour raccoon rat tail and eating the uh, pickled penguin pancreas. I'm talking about the natural dopamine that you get from achieving something, the natural dopamine that you get from uh, having that success, challenging yourself. And while you challenge yourself, you have become the champion. There's no greater feeling. So I continue to evolve because stagnation is death.
So as someone who's a big on social media, big on YouTube,
Mm,
Instagram, you got to follow at Scott Bernhard. We I think at this point it's well known the feedback loop of dopamine addiction that can
mhm.
happen for people that get into this social media, always checking
Yeah,
notifications, and doom scrolling and getting sucked into that. How do you avoid overly getting involved with that or keeping your balance with that?
that's a really good question because I've learned to take breaks. I don't care if you're driving a Ferrari, you driving a Maybach, you driving SLR McLaren, it has to rest. Or else the engine will cease to exist. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for me, when my mental feels like when my spirit says, Scott, take a week off, I take a week off. Unapologetically. I'll take a week off. And then within that week, I'll probably go on a fast or detox, which I am. Social media detox, social media posting. I'll take a detox. And I just start to recollaborate and get myself together. And Dave, when I come back, I'm way more stronger. I'm way more sharper.
Hmm.
I'm way more like just like intentional with my approach and the way that I'm posting my content and the way that I'm communicating towards my audience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And you do the same, you do something similar with food as well, right? Where you go on these
Yes.
on these fruit fasts, right?
Yes.
You'll go mix of cooked and raw food, but then you put on your orange hoodie. Don't bother me. I'm
Don't bother me.
detoxing.
I'm fasting. This is the fasting one.
It's one of those articles of clothing where, I mean, if you see someone on the sidewalk wearing that, I mean, it gets your attention. The shade of color. I mean, it pops out for sure.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, talk to us about that, right? Because your normal balance is typically a lot of raw foods, a lot of fruits, vegetables,
Yeah.
nuts, seeds, but then mixing in some maybe cooked whole foods, plant-based. But then you'll go through these phases where you go into detox and a fruit fasting. Talk to us about how you kind of balance that when and use that.
So, there's a time and place for everything under the sun. There's a time and place for everything under the sun, moon, and the stars. So for me, when I discovered raw vegan back in 2023, changed my life. I started to understand that the quickest way, I don't know if anybody's spiritual here, but I am spiritual. The quickest way and the closest way to get closer to God is when you remove yourself from that cooked food.
Hmm.
When you go to the fruits, when you go to the vegetables, when you go to the herbs, when you go to the seeds from time to time, I don't really go too heavy on the walnuts and, I do love them. But when I'm detoxing, I'm focused more on the fruits and watery fruits, right? Fruits
Okay.
with high hydration content. Your body starts to purge parasites, mucus, toxins, mucoid plaque, um, uh, even thoughts.
Hmm.
Did you know that food control your thoughts?
Hmm.
Someone who eats a lot of junk food and processed food will have a more pessimistic outlook on life because their gut has been compromised by those inflammatory foods. So, my perspective is the disciplinary aspect of it. I need to get closer to God. I'm going on a fruit fast. I need to get closer to God. I'm going to a water fast. I need to get closer to God. I'm going on a fast or a detox, just in general. Because we got to sacrifice in order for a greater gain. You can't have your cake and eat it too, especially if you're diabetic.
Hmm.
This is a moment for you to discipline yourself. This is a moment for you to break out of the matrix and stop being the sheep, being led by the shepherds of destruction. Being led by the shepherds of destruction by what? From the media, these processed food companies
Hmm.
that market to the sheep, which is you.
You think people are in a food matrix?
Absolutely. Absolutely in a food matrix. Because people have addictive personalities to food. I think there was a study one time. Did you ever see where everybody's having dinner and all of a sudden someone take a piece of the fried chicken and then they start to just act very belligerent and just wild out and everything like that? Addictive personality to your food. And the Bible says whatever you yield yourself to becomes your master. So if you yield yourself to the fried foods and the processed food, then that becomes your master.
Hmm. Well,
When
yeah.
you need to be the master of the food itself.
Hmm.
And how do you become a master of food? By disciplining yourself to say, I'm not going to be controlled by it. Not even food, food like substances. Because food, this is food. This is food. Whatever you eating is supposed to be an asset and not a liability. It's supposed to feed your cells. It's supposed to destroy the oxidation, the oxidative stress within your body. So yes, there's a time and place for everything. And when you want go and when you go into that raw, right now I'm raw. I don't know if you can tell. I'm on a fruit fast. I'm on a fruit fast, 10%, 80% fruits, 80% fruits, 10%. I do my teas in the morning. Don't bother me. I'm detoxing. Get your tea mug. And then I do my little vegetables at the side. I like a little alkaline salad, right? This
Okay.
is energy. This is God energy. I
Hmm.
don't take no Red Bull, no Monster, no 5 hour energy drinks, no Gatorade, nothing. This is nature's Gatorade. So you want to go closer to God and you want to experience focus and energy and longevity like you never experienced it before, you better go to that raw. And
Hmm.
then a step up from raw, you better go into that water fast. Even if it's vegan, cut off the cooked food. The fried oyster mushrooms, I
Hmm.
love them. But I can't have those when I'm on my fast and detox. That's not a part of the protocol. There's a time and place for everything, but this is not the time for me to be having fried oyster mushrooms with burro banana fries. I love it. And vegan cheese. I do. Trust me,
Yeah.
I do. But I'm so disciplined enough that I can say, I'm good. I don't need that now. I'm trying to get closer to God. I don't need that now. Right now, this is a liability. This is not an asset towards me.
And there's some people who would just say, what you're describing, they say, you know what, I want to do this all the time. I'm gonna
Mm.
do this all the time. For you, it's like sometimes you'll go on these 2 or 3 week phases,
Hmm.
but then you'll go back to a more balanced and with some cooked food. Uh, how does that work for you? You know, why do you like that kind of balance of your stasis? And you don't find it like that you feel any worse when you're going back to that kind of regimen?
You know, it's interesting, man. It is a it's a reality check. I really my body feels so much better when I'm raw. I feel sharper. I think clearer. I am just on go. I feel more like lively. But there's a time and place for everything. I know there's some people that's like completely raw. And like I said before, I'm not a cold turkey person. And it's not about being perfect. It's not about being perfect. It's about progression. So for me, going from the days when I used to eat Kennedy fried chicken with the birthday cake ice cream on the side, used to go to the Chinese spot. Yo, I want half a chicken chopped up with some dark sauce and some fried rice, and let me get 2 egg rolls. For me,
MSG.
going for me, going to I'm from New York, bacon, egg, and cheese. With on the roll, or if I was extra hungry, I used to get the hero with a can of Arizona and a honey bun. To now, okay, I moved away from that. And then I moved away from that. And then I said, okay, now I remember I quit like pork. I quit pork bacon and then I went to turkey. I thought it was a little bit healthier, not knowing that I was crazy too. And then from there, I'm going into the almond milk. And then from the almond milk, I'm going into this plant-based thing. And from the plant-based thing, I'm going into the vegan thing. From the vegan thing, I'm going to raw vegan, to trying out water fast. It's about progression.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, as we wrap up here with Scott Bernhard, uh, a question I have, and make sure you're following Scott Bernhard at
Yes,
Scott Bernhard and Instagram and YouTube. Um, check out Scott's Vital Frequency retreat coming up in March in
yes,
Jamaica.
it
Go to
bangs.
scottbernhard.com. Check out the merch. You have the
Yes,
sweater. It's got like
yes.
a Cheeto orange color.
So
And
we have many different colors. This is just the limited edition. This is called the Goku edition.
oh,
And
okay,
the
okay.
Kakarot edition. But we have many different colors on the website. We have the pink, the blue, the black, the green. You ever watch Power Rangers? we got the
Yeah.
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers on the website, man. Go get yours.
Um, and then definitely come meet Scott at Texas Fruit Festival,
Yes,
texasfruitfestival.com. Um, Scott, as we wrap up here, where do you, we're living in interesting times.
man.
It reminds me of the old Chinese proverb, may you live in interesting times. But where do you see the world going, Scott Bernhard?
Man, the world, the world, the world. That's a really good question. The world is what you make
And
it.
how do we make our own place in it, you know?
The world is what you make it, man. Because even in chaos, man, you find peace within your journey. A lot could be going on, but may you find peace within yourself. And what we need in this world is love. There's been too much hate. There's been too much judging. There was too much like animosity. This world needs love. This world needs healing. But healing starts with yourself.
Hmm.
Healing starts with you, my family. And then once you get to that point of healing, right? Because nobody's fully healed. I never say that I'm fully healed. I'm as long as you here on this earth, your healing journey is continuous.
Yeah. Hmm.
But while you're on this healing journey, continue to be the light that shines within this world. Because it starts with you. It starts with the change, man. So where I see this world going, honestly, the world is what you make it. Wherever you see the world going, that's where it's going. I know in my world, I see my world being peaceful, abundant, purpose driven, ambition, healthy, community, happiness, peace, and joy and love. Everything you could think of that's positive.
Amen.
I've
Amen.
I've dealt with so much trauma in my life that I refuse to be contaminated and to be controlled by the trauma. So I choose to triumph. And here I
Hmm.
am. Yeah.
Hmm. Well,
Yep.
Scott Bernhard, we really appreciate your time. Your parting message to the listener out there is listening to this who's thinking,
Mm.
how do I get, I want to get these things that we're talking about. How do I get more self-discipline? How do I create that? How do
Mm.
I feel like I'm stuck. How do I break out of that? How do I get that?
You have to have reality checks with yourself. Sometimes you gotta talk to yourself, right? And you ask yourself, like, do I even have the accountability to do this myself? It takes a community, it takes a village. And this is why you reach out to someone who's a professional. You reach out to a coach. You reach out to someone who really knows what they're doing, someone who has experience, someone who is relatable, you can relate to, such as myself. So I would say if you know deep down inside that you don't have that accountability, then start to build that accountability with having a professional, having a coach, right? Second, ask yourself, how bad do you want it? If you want it bad enough, you're going to find a way.
Hmm.
Consistency. Consistency. That's what manifests the discipline to the point where the meatless Monday becomes meatless Tuesdays. Meatless Monday and Tuesday. And then comes meatless Wednesday, then meatless Thursday, and then meatless Friday. And then, progression. You heard my story. It took me years. It took me years. And everybody has a story. Everybody has a journey and a mission. So it's time for you to could take control of your narrative and for you to break out of that matrix and become the champion that you were born to be. You just got to make this choice and the decision at the end of the day. If I can do it, you can do it.
Wow, amazing. Scott Bernhard at Scott Bernhard, scottbernhard.com. Come meet
Mhm.
Scott at Texas Fruit Festival. Scott, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, Dave. I appreciate you. And if anybody wants to work with me on a one-on-one basis, check out the website www.scottburhorn.com. Um, I'm available to work one-on-one as far as custom coaching. When it comes to fasting, detoxing, or people that's just looking to get healthy in general, because I am a health and wellness professional, license and everything like that. So thank you
And
also
and
so
and,
much for having me.
and what else are you up to, Scott? Do you have any other things, community, or other things that you're up to, that people should know about, projects and stuff like that?
Um, yeah, as far as projects goes, I'm trying to think. I will be hosting a few events this year and things like that. I will be at Texas Fruit Festival. That's priority. As far as projects goes, honestly, I've really just been putting my heart and soul into the merchandise. And the reason why is because coming from a fashion background, when I used to model and I did Nike campaigns, I walked Paris, I did New York Fashion Week, and I always been like, always been I like fashion, I like, things like that. Um, and I wanted to create this brand, the Don't Bother Me brand, and I wanted to make it like fashionable, but also with a strong statement behind it. So I've been putting a lot of time and energy into my branding as far as the merchandise goes, something fly. I'm from New York. We like fly things, we like flashy things, but also having a really dope message behind it and a conversation starter,
Yes.
So
Do you get
that's
stopped on the street? Do you get stopped on the street and people like want to find out what your shirt's about and stuff?
Yeah, exactly. Like, wait, why should I bother you again? Or they'll say it out loud and I'll laugh. And they'll ask you, oh, where do you get that? I'm like, oh, it's my merchandise, my website, www.scottbrown.com. And they support it. So it's been awesome. And it's only been like what, 2 months? It's only been 2 months, and the support has been amazing. As far as my friends go, like my real friends, social media, associates and things like that. People just been supporting, and I've been putting a lot of energy into this. So yeah, man, just go to the website, get your merch. I appreciate the support. Get your tea mug, right? We don't drink coffee over here. We drink tea. All right. So yeah, that's what it is.
All right, there goes Scott Bernhard. Scott, thank you again, man.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.